Good morning, students. I am Asutosh sir. So today I am going to start a new chapter of physics that is called work, power and energy. The name of the chapter is work, power and energy. Work, power and energy. First of all, we need to understand what is work. In normal everyday life, what we study that work is doing something. In English, you also study that doing something is called work. For example, if you are reading, this is a work. If you are walking, this is a work. If you are eating, this is a work. If you are singing, this is a work. If you are laughing, this is a work. In normal everyday life, these things are considered as a work. But in physics, the concept of work is little bit different. In physics, every work is not work. In physics, there is some conditions when we say that work is done. So when we can say that work is done? So in physics, we say work is done only when the displacement is caused. Work is done only when the displacement is caused. For example, I am standing here. I am explaining you the physics. I am not doing any work in terms of physics. I am doing nothing in terms of physics. My work is zero because I am not changing my position. This means in physics, work is done only when there is a displacement. So what we can say here, the definition of work can be written. Work is said to be done. Work is said to be done when force cause displacement. Wherever there is a displacement, that time work is done. If displacement is not happening, then in terms of physics, work is zero. Again, I am writing this statement. If no displacement, then work is zero. Now you must be thinking that if you are studying, then are we not doing any work? If we are walking, are we not doing any work? Or if we are eating, are we not doing any work? But in terms of physics, work is done only when you call displacement. For example, if you are studying and you are sitting on the chair and you are studying, this means you are not doing any work. But if you are studying by taking a book on your hand and moving, that time you are doing work. Because that time displacement occurs. We are studying about work, and I told you that work is done when force cause displacement. So now we are going to study what are the factors on which work depends. What are the factors on which work depends? Factors on which work depends. There are three factors. There are three factors on which work depends. The first factor is force. The second factor is displacement. And the third factor is angle between force and displacement. Angle between force and displacement. Earlier I told you that whenever there is a displacement, work is done. But I am telling another thing now. There are some cases, even if displacement occurs, work is zero. I told you if no displacement, no work. But there are some cases, in the case of displacement, work is also zero. So how is it possible that a force is causing displacement? Displacement is happening, still work is zero. So this is happening because of the third condition, and that is the angle between force and displacement. So how we can write the work? In mathematical term, how we can write the work? So work can be written as the dot product of force and displacement. Here F is force, D is a displacement, F is force, D is a displacement, and this dot sign is dot product, and this dot sign is dot product. So what is this dot product? We need to understand first what is this dot product. So let's discuss about the dot product first. You must have heard about the quantity vector. You must have heard about the quantity vector. What is a vector? Vector is a quantity having both magnitude and direction. Vector is a quantity with having both magnitude and direction. To understand what is vector, suppose that I told you go to the market and buy some 5 kg of rice. You go to the market and you bought 5 kg of rice, and that 5 kg of rice is the quantity of rice. Direction is not included in that. So the quantity of anything is a scalar quantity. But if direction is included in that quantity, it becomes vector. For example, force is applied. 10 Newton force is applied. This is the quantity. But 10 Newton force is applied in each direction. This is a vector. When we associate a direction with a quantity, it becomes a vector. So vector quantity, vector, it is a quantity. It is a quantity in which, or it is better you write, it is a physical term. It is a physical term in which both magnitude and direction, both magnitude and direction is included. Both magnitude and direction is included. What are the examples? The examples: force, momentum, etc. These are the vector quantity in which both magnitude and direction is included. But here our focus is we are studying about work, and to study work we need to understand one concept that is called dot product. So dot product is nothing but the multiplication of the two vectors. Vector can be multiplied in two ways. Vector can be multiplied in two ways. The one way of multiplication is called dot product. The one way of multiplication is called dot product, and the other way of multiplication is called cross product. One way of multiplication is called dot product, and other way of multiplication is called cross product. But the multiplication of vector is not the same way you apply in mathematics. For example, if I told you that 2 into 3 is what, you will say 6. If I told you what is 2 into 3 in mathematics, you will say 6. But if I told you that what is the multiplication of 2 Newton and 3 Newton force, you cannot say anything about that. If I ask you what is the multiplication of 2 Newton force and 3 Newton force, you cannot say anything about that unless the conditions are given. But in mathematics, if I told you what is 2 into 3, you will say 6. But in physics, if I told you multiply 2 Newton into 3 Newton, you cannot multiply unless you are given the conditions. So that is why vector is multiplied in two ways. One is called dot product and another is called cross product. So we need to understand here what is the meaning of this dot product. Dot product, first thing, dot product gives the scalar quantity. It gives the scalar quantity. Dot product gives the scalar quantity. Means whatever product we get after dot, we will get the scalar quantity. Again, what is work? I told you work is the dot product of force and displacement. Work is the dot product of force and displacement. This means work is a scalar quantity. This means work is a scalar quantity. And why work is a scalar quantity? Because we get the work from dot product of force and displacement. We got work from dot product of force and displacement. Now the question arises, how we do the dot product? what are the procedure to do the dot? So work can be written as force dot displacement. If we want to simplify the dot, we have to add a new term that is called cos theta. To simplify the dot, we have to add a new term that is called cos theta. So work can be written as FD cos theta. This dot, to simplify this dot, we have added a new term that is called cos theta. Now this F and D is not a vector. This is a magnitude of force. This F is a magnitude of force, and this D is also magnitude of displacement. So from all our discussion, we conclude to a point that point is work can be written as mathematically FD cos theta. In simple way, work can be written as mathematically FD cos theta. What is F? F is the magnitude of force. What is D? D is the magnitude of displacement. And what is the cos theta? The new term arises here, the cos theta. So what is the meaning of this cos theta? Suppose that the force and displacement is making some angle. Suppose that force and displacement is making some angle, and let the angle is theta. Force and displacement is making an angle, and that angle is theta. So from this theta we got the cos theta. From this theta we got the cos theta. So what is theta? Theta is angle between force and displacement. Theta is angle between force and displacement. Again, if we have to find the work, then we must know about the values of cos theta. Otherwise, we will not able to find the values. So now we need to understand what are the values of theta and what are the corresponding value of cos theta. I am writing theta here and cos theta here. When theta is 0 degree, cos theta is 1. When theta is 30 degree, cos theta is 3 by 2. When theta is 45 degree, cos theta 1 by root 2. When theta 60 degree, cos theta 1 by 2. When theta 90 degree, cos theta 0. When theta 180 degree, then cos theta is 1. These are the values of cos theta that you need to remember. When theta is 0, cos theta is 1. When theta is 30 degree, cos theta is 3 by 2. When theta equal to 45 degree, cos theta 1 by root 2. When theta equal to 60 degree, cos theta 1 by 2. When theta equal to 90, cos theta 0. And when theta equal to 180, cos theta equal to minus 2. So let's do a question so that we can understand how we can solve the questions of the work. So I am writing one question here. Find the work when 2 Newton force cause displacement, 2 Newton force cause a displacement of 30 meter acting at angle 30 degree with displacement. So it is very necessary in the physics that we draw a figure. When we draw a figure, our half work is done. If we are drawing a figure, this means we understand the question. So let's try to draw the figure. So how can be this figure drawn? It is given that the force is acting and displacement is also there, and the angle between force and displacement is 30. After drawing the figure, our next work is to find the values, because if you find the values, your half work is done. Now you have to just calculate. The first part of solving physics problem is to draw a diagram. The second part of solving problem is to find the values. What are the given? So F is given here 2 Newton and displacement is given here 30 meter and theta is given here 30 degree. So we need to find the cos theta and cos theta. This means cos 30 degree. Cos theta means cos 30 degree and cos 30 degree means root 3 by. So if we have to find the work here, so we can write work equal to Fd cos theta. Work equal to Fd cos theta. And force is 2 Newton, D is 30, and cos theta is root 3 by 2. So 2 is cut by 2, and the answer is 30 root 3 joule. Why we have written joule? Because the unit of work is joule, and in physics everything is written in the unit form. So unit of work is joule. So we get the answer 30 root 3 joule. Okay, thank you.